so we're doing a little experimental film with Greg Abels, Nick Lowry here at Windsong Dojo. Just working with the walking pattern. First, we're setting up the walking pattern with no grips at all. He's doing the walk forward, I'm doing it backward. And I'm just following precisely his walking steps. And we're doing the first basic Unsoku pattern, the X pattern, at the very beginning. Then we're going to link together. He's going to, as in a release. And again, I'm going to maintain this relationship at distance in time and space with nothing but that same walking pattern we were just doing. So he takes off and I follow. And we do no change at all as we make that X pattern. We'll go through a few reps of just the pattern of just the footwork, and then we'll start adding the hands. I'm going to be playing with the hand coming to the outside of the release, like number one release. So we're doing just the pattern of the walking. Go ahead. I got to follow that and try not to let any pressures build up at this point, so the point remains a neutral point of contact. So first I'm just regulating my movement to his movement so that this point becomes fixed in space, and then at the end of the step I can actually enter and do stuff. If I work with this as a neutral point. And so with this one gesture of doing what we would think of as number one release, this sort of thing, but doing it very small, and just at the end of the step, we have a neutral point in space, and a neutral point in space being exploited. A neutral point in space, a neutral point in space being exploited. And so yeah, why don't you try it, right? So I'm going to step forward, boom, and you keep this neutral, good. 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 Very tail end. Yeah. We got our tip. Okay, so here, 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 yeah. You'll feel where you can stick it in. Boom. Boom. As the center settles. There we go. Whoa, yeah. Yeah. It'd just be like, yeah, exactly. Very good, very good.
It's improving.
And so we have very different kind of foot patterns going on, but we get to see where the vulnerability in the step is. If you come here at the very end, as his weight gets even, we have a shot. So as he takes a step back and we follow back, we have that same hanging him on both feet problem. As he comes forward and presses through us, we step back and we keep the distance relative the same, the pressure relative the same. Again, vulnerability. He steps back like he's going, and again, we follow through. So just with one gesture, a number one release. You could do the same thing if we had a mirror side release. It would be like number three. And so as he takes off, boom, just like that. We're going to take that same sense of neutrality, and at the end of the step, as he steps off, keeping this relationship equal and changing it only at the end. All right? So I've got him now. We're doing number three. I'm stepping off. Yeah. Off. Stepping into it.
Am I more open?
You're going to come around it like a number three release.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 Right. Right. So we're taking very simple changes that happen at the level of the arms, the elbow, the wrists, and whatnot, and exploiting them at certain moments in time while keeping the pressure equal by maintaining the relationship equal with the force coming in to act on us. So that's number one. All right, an interesting thing happens when we change sides. So first we did number one release, right hand to right hand here. But if we go left hand to right hand, but we keep the footwork pattern the same, we get little differences. So in the right hand to right hand pattern, when he stepped forward and I step back here, this is real easy to catch. But now when we're cross hand, and the same foot pattern as he steps off, I can get jammed here pretty easily if I'm not careful. So if I don't step back far enough, boom, he presses through this and kills me. I have to be very sensitive to the pressure right here at the engagement point, at the Jiku, at the point of contact. to maintain that neutrality, to make sure that I'm not fighting at this point what's going on. You gotta make sure everything goes around that point. So, those relationships change because of the vectors that change, whether we're set up like this or set up like that with the same footwork pattern. So now I'm going to attack Greg. We're going to do the first pattern, and then we'll change to the second pattern. So here we go. I'm just taking off. Boom. That's better. Good. Yes, very good. Now, we'll do this side. And so, yeah. Tougher, isn't it? There you go.
Oh.
Cool.
Oh, sorry.
Good. Now you're actually doing a curl up, which is more like doing number 2. Actually, when I'm doing it, yeah, when I'm doing it, I'm actually doing a push around, like leading with the little finger.
Okay.
Curling over is pretty cool too. You end up with this palm up thing, and you might experiment with that. Cutting in with the finger, something to fool with. Just coming in with a flat palm is pretty bad too, because it makes him sticky. It's hard for him to get off of this point of contact when the flat palm gets in there. Let's go on to 3. So the third release we did before. And I'm stepping with me, good. Stepping with me, good, that's better. He's stepping with me, good. He's stepping with me, good. And then, same thing. Yeah, better, huh? Good. Good. Yeah. Good. Cool.
I'm practicing opposite hand, opposite foot at least once.
That's
in
right.
the equation.
That's right. You're caught in the relationships where this foot's stepping and this hand's going at the same time. And so normally we'd like to be in a same-sided relationship for our work, but we don't want to be limited by that or feel that that's impossible. It's just that we want to understand those limitations when we hit them. So on to number 2 and number 4, we're going to take position with the palm up this time, and we're working with this kind of relationship, rotation in the body situation going on. We're going to leave that neutral again in the stepping pattern. He starts into the walk, and I want to learn to neutralize it exactly with my space and time. Ooh, he got me a little bit. And you'll feel it. You'll feel your structure collapse a little, or you feel yourself accept a little weight or pressure through this structure when your feet aren't quite right. When they're right, at the end of each step, as he comes in, or steps away or steps in, he comes in, boom, get in, let him off, come back, he steps back, boom. Yeah, don't be too hard. He comes in, boom, here, and he steps back, here, right. And these are pretty dramatic. They set them up into fairly extreme positions of off balance. So be careful with your partner. Go ahead, Greg, get to me. And as you come in, try not to grip too much, just roll through. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Good. Good. And whew. Yeah, that one's extreme at the end. When we think about number 4, we think about the same sort of coiling relationships, right? Think about these sorts of things. Right here. Right. These sorts of things. And again, we make the neutral relationship with the walk. Go ahead. Coiling through.
All right.
Oh, so sorry. So we have these very simple gestural changes or changes at the point of contact happening within the context of a neutral point. Just at the moment of body rise, it's happening at the end of the step. And so we're just looking at ways to exploit those body rises, really. So what did you get to do 2? You didn't get to do 4. Okay, so here's 4. So I'm taking off on 4.
I'm just turning my hand over.
Well, just get neutral first. Make sure that I can't pressurize or pull you or push you with my stepping first. So that you're equalizing everything I'm doing. Yeah. And when you can equalize, good.
Sorry.
Then you can add things to it in the right moments. Learning just to stay neutral in these relations. Let's say we were just palm to palm and we had no gripping connection at all. Just learning this part so that I don't let this build up on me and I don't let it slip apart from me, so that it remains a constant point in space. Very critical. Once that's a really neutral thing, then it's exploitable. And that exploitation happens in precise moments of their attempt to recover or come back into natural movement. And so we're learning to time ourselves to a really specific window of time. We're learning to stay in a neutral pivot place so that there's no pressure building up on us. And we're learning to catch those moments in time where everything is really pristine and takes very, very little pressure to work with. Cool. So as we play around with it, you'll find interesting ways to experiment. We noticed that if we set up just a palm-to-palm relationship without any grips at all, either mirror side or cross-hand side, and as we moved with each other in this X pattern, making this point neutral, that we could pretty much invoke off balance in those special moments just with little changes. So we're doing the minimalist sort of change. Now we can make more extraordinary changes. We could reach a long ways, for instance, or we could step over here and coil through, for instance, which is, again, putting Greg back into big coils that I'm trying not to do, sorry. But just from this very minimalist kind of contact, very, very tenuous contact, and so you're having to sort of maintain that. We could be on the outside of the arm, like we're sword fighters, we're at the cross of swords kind of thing, right? And I'm going to attack him, he's going to do it to me. Oh, yeah. Yes. Good. Yeah. I kind of got away a little bit. Now it's his turn, he's going to come get me. Mm-hmm. 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 Use my elbows a little differently. So we can think about this in terms of being underneath them or on top of them. So if we're underneath, like a number 3 relationship, even with no grip, just his palms on me, my palms on him. And as he steps into it, we just create a little slight vaulting action. Slight vaulting action. Slight vaulting action at the right moment. This is all just coming out of the mid-back. And we can compare that to what happens when the elbow rolls out and sticks to his forearm. So let's do it on this side so they can see better. If I'm just vaulting, this is just sort of a rising action that's causing his shoulders to turn. But if this outside hand, as he rolls over and the elbow comes out, you see how it breaks his structure in more significant ways. Now this is not cranking down. There's not a bunch of pressure change as this gets here. But it makes it difficult for him to get away from it if the pressure remains constant. Yeah. If I push too hard, it breaks free. You see that happen. You could be double-handed with this. So it's just roll over and place him in kind of a condition and let him out. Roll over. And just very, very light contact here, but with no straight lines to his center. It's all coming from these change in the elbows here. The elbows came out away from the center. Now let him stabilize, take his next step. And again, very small little steps. Over time, on contact, you just be in this without any preparatory movement at all. So there's that threshold vulnerability on contact that we're ignoring right now for purposes of accentuating the equalizing the pressure on contact and moving with their action. So we're dealing with this relatively late. He's coming into me, he's going away from me, he's pulling me, he's pushing me here, he's pulling me back here, and I'm already dealing with the pressure. And we recognize that this is already having to equalize a pressure acting on us, equalize, and then exploit it in motion. But we shouldn't forget, we really shouldn't forget, that at the moment of contact there's that same vulnerability. That as he tries to reach in and establish contact, establish potential for exhibiting the force to begin with, that these same conditions occur right at that moment. So Even though we're practicing it in motion and we're practicing it late on the step, those same steps that he's making are the steps that he makes to reach out and make contact to begin with. And so we're just sort of ignoring that part of it for now, but we're actually working even the static thing. So now just do it to me as I reach in to get a grip or to put my hand on your hand. Yeah, but right from there, right from there. Yes. Right. So right from where you're standing, you have the same potentials that you have that when we have this stepping potential here. We also have the same potential right here. With a half step or less change in me. Maybe I just sink a little bit. Maybe I move 1 foot back a little bit. But you don't have to do much if you catch the right timing. It's the same process. It's the same process. So thank you.